What's up guys, it's Luke and we're with Jack over here and we're working on the 240. Now this isn't just any 240, this is now my 240.
When I bought my 240SX in 2019, I had high hopes, like any 240SX owner does. I had the intentions of fixing it up, making it better than it was, and ultimately drifting it. At the time I was at school and had no tools, no garage, and no experience. So as you might expect, I towed the car to my parents' house where it sat until I returned home after the pandemic started, and that's when I made my crucial mistake. Up until that point, I thought the car only needed some small repairs that would be easy to make.
Alright, so behind me is the 240. My alternator came in today. Mark's gonna help me fix this stupid car. So let's get started.
My thought was if I removed the engine for a simple refresh, it would be easier to work on the motor and I could baseline everything. Although in hindsight this was actually an awful idea, at the time I had way less experience and knowledge than I do now. So I completed step 1 of the 240SX owner's guide. I removed the engine. During the early part of 2020, I disassembled the engine until I hit the tipping point of removing the head and getting a new, freshly machined head to throw on the block. And there it sat. I had the motor mostly ready but had no idea how to put it in.
Currently I literally have zero idea what I'm doing with this car.
I kept making videos in my free time until I started working here at Gears and Gasoline, and then after a couple months, Ben had the wonderful idea that we make a video with my 240. I was motivated and excited to finally have my car running and driving. I knew by the end of it I would fall in love with my car and it would be happily ever after. Until it didn't happen.
Alright, stop.
The more I looked at the car and the more I learned from Ben, the more I realized that this car had a long way to go before it ever became the car of my dreams. Funny enough, after that last shot of my 240 in the first build episode, the car actually died about 3 seconds later and wouldn't restart. It took weeks to diagnose the issue, which ended up being the entire lower wiring harness. So I replaced it, and every once in a while I would drive the car around the parking lot to make sure the car didn't sit for too long. It's been a long time working up to actually selling this thing. It's been back and forth in my head for years, but I finally made my decision. From the day I bought this car, I obviously got in way over my head with what I thought I could achieve with the little experience I had working on cars. And I don't ever see myself getting this car to a point where I'm satisfied with it. Buying someone else's project car is almost always a bad idea, especially if you have little to no experience or you don't want to do copious amounts of work to try to get the car to where you want it to be. I can confidently say that I would rather have started with almost any stock car instead of this 240SX where nothing had been touched by the many previous owners this car had. But now that I've decided to sell it, I need to do some work on the car before I list it for sale.
So the first thing I'm going to do to this car before I sell it is to put an exhaust on it. It's currently been open downpipe for approximately 4 months, and I happened to get a stock exhaust for it, so I'm going to put that on the car so that it's literally not deafening to drive.
Now that wonderful exhaust test is over, it's time to install some of the interior parts I had sitting in the car and pack up all the spare parts and bolts I had lying around into one big container and put it all in the car. This is for the next owner.
So I have finally finished working on the car, and now I'm going to take some for sale photos for it. And it is important when taking photos of a car to always highlight the issues, so I'm going to be taking a lot of photos. Nice, perfect shot to highlight the roof rust. Gotta make sure I show off this untouched quarter panel. Thankfully, you can't convey smell through photos. Gotta show off this mint dash. I mean, it's in perfect condition. All right, I think I've taken sufficient photos. I don't think any amount of photos can really do justice to this wonderful car.
Now it's time to list the car for sale. I need to make it clear to any buyer that this car is a project and will need a lot of work before it is ready to drive on the street or the track. Because it's an S chassis that runs, it's worth $10,000, so that'll be the starting bid. Obviously not, but I set the price based on what I saw on Facebook Marketplace for other cars that are equally as in a project state as mine. And now, we wait. Sold now. It's going away. Time to say goodbye.
So this is now part of the video where the sappy music comes on, the glamour start playing, and then I explain to you in the VO why I'm very upset that I'm without a 240SX in my life and how I'm so sad that I'm going to be living my life without the car of my dreams. And while that is true, I'm happy that this phase of my life with cars is over. My goal when I bought this car was to get a ton of seat time, and obviously that did not happen at all. I got a total of 0 minutes of seat time in the 240, but I'm hoping that will change soon. In the near future, I'm hoping that I can get something that's a little bit more seat time oriented. Still not sure what it's gonna be, but I hope it's something that I can turn tons of laps in and get a whole lot of driver mod with. And even though I'm happy that my 240SX is gone for now, I'm definitely gonna be kicking myself in 10 years when they're worth 20 grand.